TV. The world is thinking.
I have been here since the first day, and one of the things that's really struck me here in the Bella Center is that while there are endless sessions about how poor countries should adapt to climate change, there are very few sessions, if any, that are looking at the role that corporations are playing in creating this crisis. This is a very polite affair. We don't like to name names here in the Bella Center. We can talk about governments and give them fossils of the day, but we aren't talking about who's behind those governments, and that's what the Angry Mermaid Award is all about and why I'm proud to be a part of it. There are so many common sense solutions to this collective crisis that we are not talking about. Why aren't we talking about windfall profit taxes on the oil and gas industry? Why isn't that an issue here inside the Bella Center? Why are we not talking about the need to shut down the Canadian tar sands? I say this as a Canadian. My country is a climate criminal. We signed the Kyoto Protocol and our emissions went up by 26%. We sit here talking about legally binding agreements, but it doesn't mean anything if the power of the fossil fuel lobby nixes the enforcement of those agreements. And yet we're not talking about the oil and gas companies behind the tar sands who are profiting. You're all journalists here. I'm a journalist. Our job is to follow the money, and that's what this award is about. A little bit of naming. We talk about the need for the developing world to go green, yet where are we talking about the desperate need for intellectual property law reform? How is the developing world going to be able to afford the green technologies that are being trumpeted here unless there is dramatic reform of the same laws that kept AIDS medications out of the reach of the developing world? That's what this discussion is about. Tomorrow, the streets of Copenhagen and outside of the Bella Center will be filled with protests once again. The slogan, the focus of the Reclaim Power protests is denouncing false solutions and creating space to talk about those real solutions that are finding so little space inside the Bella Center. But here today, what we're talking about is why. The incredible power that has kept those real solutions off the agenda. And it isn't just about who is in the hallways here. So much of the corporate lobbying, of course, took place long before this conference started. And it's focused on, in particular, the U.S. Congress, which is the single greatest barrier to a fair climate deal, so that by the time we all gathered here, the deal had already been struck in the United States. So we're outing the lobbyists, and this is something that activists in the United States have started to do more and more. You know, lobbyists love anonymity, and one of the things that we're trying to do is drag them out of the shadows and into the light.